Poor Luke. I love that you're willing to be second, Luke. I know of all. Luke Taylor, you're going to probably already have seen what I put on Google Classroom. So what do you think, Luke? Have you seen what I've put on Google Classroom? Are you not saying anything because you're, So what do you think, Luke? Have you seen what I've put on? Oh. Okay. So let me just tell you, I have loaded Google Classroom down with a ton of information I just got from Advanced Kentucky. And let's see, one of them is the 2020 AP Testing Guide. Good morning, Ella. And it takes you through like your checklist, your required documents, your so the testing demo I don't know much about. Good morning, Xander. And it looks like they're like on this page they're showing me a gonna do something. Maybe that's just it starts on May the 11th, but on the and again I'm talking about I've put all of this on Google Classroom for those of you guys. Welcome, Max. That has your 2020 AP testing guide. So, a couple of things. I don't mind you email me questions, although I do know when you don't look at these things and then you email me the questions that you've not taken the time to look at these things, right? So, I would appreciate it if you guys do look at these things. Let me do this. How about let me do this? Let me get into Google Classroom. Let me just show you what I've done. Because I'm techie like that. I'm an NTI teacher. I'm techie. Just ask my people. Let's ask my students that are freaking killing it. Okay, look here. I've made a thing. What is this? A topic that I'm so techie. I made a topic called AP Exam, and I'm in the AP Testing Guide. And here's your link. And so it's 51 pages, and it's taking you through. This is what I was talking about. So see, it tells you how to get your checklist going, your testing demo, detailed FAQs. Those are frequently asked questions. How to get your AP exam e-ticket, what to do on the day of the exam. So this is all what you guys were asking me, and I feel like, Luke, you already knew about the 2 days before, but this is kind of put it all in one place for us. So I love it. I also put on here what students need on exam day. So you've got this as well. I can't tell if my computer's slow or I don't. Oh, it's not. Okay. So these are all of your. So for sciences, notice that environmental is not even on there. And the only reason why it's not on here is because we don't have any formula sheets. We're not going to have any math. Ha ha. Ha la la la. Right? So you don't need to have anything pre-printed as far as those things go. Verify your e-ticket. I posted that. So that's how you're going to verify. This is AP student exam day stuff, AP exam walkthrough, AP testing guide. So I'm trying to not overwhelm you, but to give you enough information straight out of the gate that you know what's happening. Okay, now I'm seeing your comments. Okay. So Luke says, okay, I looked at the testing guide and it looks good. Mr. Easley has done a video further explaining it. Oh, good for Mr. Easley. I just finished the demo. It's great. Cleared it up a lot. Yay, Gabe. Yeah, demo really took some stress off my shoulders. Good. I don't know about techie. Caleb, I know I'm not. Look, y'all, I got my gray hair sneaking out on top of my visor. Like, there are a lot of questions you should have about your teacher. I recommend using a different, bigger home computer because I personally think the school's Chromebook screen is too small to effectively test. Yes. Especially if you're copying and pasting. I agree. Always bigger is better. But for sure, in these situations, and remember, if you are not comfortable typing and you want to write, you can do that as well. I don't know. Like I envy you all and I don't envy you all because you are seriously, like, you've got a great shot to pass this. There's not going to be math. They're telling you not exactly what the questions are, but they're kind of telling you the questions. Oh. So I was on the Facebook last night, and that APES Facebook page, I really got to stop, or I got to keep going. I don't know. The committee's a little out on that one. About, here, just give me this. I say yes, Trevor should get on the thing. I swear I took a picture, y'all. Daggone it. Maybe I didn't take a picture. I'm not techie. Okay, so on the AP Facebook thing, it was talking about question 3. So there may be another question specifically that I can look up to give you guys some more practice for another mock exam. I lied to you all. I was so ready to score everybody's exams, and it's not till Thursday. So sorry, my torture continues. I really want to get that over with. I think I told you guys they're only giving us like 3 hours to score, and I was like, it takes 3 hours to just score like one question in one class, and they've written 2. So that's not going to go well. Okay, do we need to use that app on the laptop, or do we just need to use the College Board website? I don't know. I don't know. That's a great question. Luke says just College Board. Okay, we'll trust you, Luke. Because I certainly don't know. That's the good and the bad thing about, like, I want my mentor to help me get logged on to open up my site to score your guys' stuff so I don't look like a jackhole before we get started. So that's, do not use lockdown browser. Okay. Luke, you are on it. You may, could you share with us, Xander, what app? So they sent an app through your school computer that to be pushed through for you to take your test on. So that's the app. I wonder how long it's going to take for my gray hair to like grow up to here to where I look like a calico cat. Oh, Miss Skimehorn, get over it. Vanity. It's a sin. Okay. Yes, and tell Trevor Church. We're waiting for him. Okay. So, without further ado, I just wanted to talk to you guys about all the stuff that I've put on Google Classroom. I'm just going to continue as I come across things that I think will help you. I'm going to keep putting them there. I've made you a topic. I did not put the mock exam deconstruction in there. Maybe I should have. I don't know. I have to think about that. I did not put the AP central units in there. But remember, on the mock exam deconstruction, Caleb Tidwell made the discovery that you could follow that website not on your Chromebook. So just remember that Caleb Tidwell made a discovery that he shared with you guys. Remember. Let's see. Chloe says Mr. Hayden said there wasn't any app that was downloaded. I don't know about that. I'm pretty sure there was. Maybe Mr. Hayden just doesn't know, or maybe they just left Mr. Hayden out. Maybe they were like, ha ha ha, none for you, calculus. Okay. So I feel like we've talked about all of that. I'm gonna assume that you guys are down for another mock exam trial run. And I'll see about that. My thoughts are I will have to pick FRQs from your testing bank that you guys have probably already done. So at that point, I don't know what's the point. But we'll see. If I don't, please remember you need to take the initiative to time yourself. 25 minutes, 15 minutes, 2 FRQs. I'm still getting questions from students. Like I just got a question the other day that was like, I just heard there's only going to be 2 FRQs on the AP exam. I feel like she may not have been listening to any of our live chats. Okay, you'll need to have 2 windows open. One College Board where you can view the question, typing, and number 2, a typing application. I prefer Google Doc. You'll copy and paste the doc to the actual question on the College Board. Perfect. I sent an email to the filter people, and they said they wouldn't unblock it. I love you, Caleb. Yeah, like that's awesome. That's fantastic. I'm just saying. That's fantastic. Caleb sent an email to the filter people. Yes, you did. If you mess up, you'll have to clear answer on College Board, fix Google Doc, and then repaste it. We don't want to talk about messing up, do we? That's traumatic. So, again, 60%, 40%. The first FRQ is 25 minutes. The second is 15 minutes, 5 minutes to download. That's it. We got this, guys. We got this. And I'm working on maybe a little surprise for y'all. I don't know. Let me just ask y'all that are listening. If I were to invite you to drive past my house one day, would you be down to do that? So I'm kind of thinking about something. Y'all think about it. Like maybe stagger it out to where the Saturday before we take our test, we do a little drive-by in Springbank, and I'd like to, maybe give you something. I usually try to give you something the day of, and, there's a lot of crying and stuff involved as well, and we can't hug and cry. I don't know. Look, the scary thing is, I was talking to Chad about this, and he was like, you cannot jump in the car and hold them all like babies, and I was like, I don't know that I can't do that. So, I'm not promising I won't attack you. Okay. So, I don't know that it would be, I don't know that everybody would come, but I was just thinking maybe I'd like to give you something, just a little something, it's not much, but I'd like to give you something to just let you know that I love you, and I'm thinking about you, and I appreciate all the hard work we're still continuing to do. Have a picnic. Bryson, I would love to have a picnic. I'm telling you, I don't know. Yeah, so I was thinking like on the weekend, before we take our test. What day do we? What is May 18th? What is that? Is that a Tuesday? Let's pull out the handy dandy calculator. Oh no, that's a Monday. Okay. So I was thinking that Saturday, just doing like, and I'll just set out in my front yard and just to be able to see each other and to just say, hi. And me look at you and you look at me and we know that only we have gone through this. Let me look when I took the mock exam. I guess that must be different though. How did y'all get your e-ticket already? I don't think anybody's got their e-ticket already. We could take up the whole, like we could go to the community college and just take up that whole grass field. Yeah, Monday. Yep. Okay. So that's kind of what I'm thinking is those are my thoughts. I have thoughts, to see you guys and just a little something to just, could you please do a short stream over going over the task verbs because I saw another one of Mr. Easley's videos and he stressed out how much we need to put on the explain part. I can look into that. Let me talk to my people because I don't think you guys are going to have those kinds of verbs like. I don't understand how y'all have done that demo. Kaylee. Yeah, so I'll see. I'll talk to my people and I'll see what kind of action verbs we've got. I'll write that down. Okay. Kaylee, it's a good thing you log in. Oh, dear Jesus. Oh, so sorry. That was me. Okay. So let's, without further ado, let's talk about some forest. Look, Kaylee. I love that you guys are like I can see Kaylee's face and I can see Luke's face and I can see him shaking his head. And Luke, I love I love that you don't give up. Uh, oh, it, is it better to explain fully at the question or to be short to the point or move on to the next question? Okay, so you're not going to move on to the next question. You're going to do, my understanding is you got 25 minutes and you will only have access to that first part of the question. And then you will 15 minutes for the second part. But the bulk of your time needs to be spent on that 25-minute question because that's 60% of your grade. So 60%, 40%. So you definitely want to yes. And if I know Mr. Easley, I know what he historically says is when they ask you to explain, and he says, so for instance, if you're talking about your favorite ice cream, you don't just say, my favorite ice cream is, well, like my favorite ice cream, I would say if I were going to Orange Leaf, is the cheesecake with almond slices and chocolate chips. So let me just stop right there and show you what I just did. Wait. I meant parts of the question. Yeah. Well, they don't expect you to get all the way through. So, hi, Carly. So they don't expect you to get all the way. I mean, like, time is going to be of the essence. You don't need to like spend 20 of your 25 minutes on any part of the question. I would expect 5 sections, right? A, B, C, D, E. 25 minutes, 5 minutes each. That's what I would be. And if part A says identify the biome that Yellowstone National Park consumes, one answer. You got 4 minutes that you can now add an extra minute to each one of these parts. Okay, so back to the explain. So if you don't notice what I just did, I didn't just say I like cream cheese ice cream. I said I like cream cheese ice cream from Orange Leaf that has almond slices and chocolate chips. And then I would go on and I would tell you that, like, I question the chocolate chips sometimes because I can't always taste them, because when chocolate chips are cold, they taste different. Like, is it worth the calories? But the combination of the three blends together quite well, and the almonds really surprised me. So I've never had almonds on. I mean, like, that's the idea, is that with an explain, you need at least 3 sentences to explain something. Like, you can, when I'm explaining something, I don't just say it is vanilla, right? So I hope that helps, Luke. But I will ask my AP, my Advanced Kentucky people, what specific verbs that they're expecting on the test, and I'll see if there's anything I can unearth there for you. So, forests are probably my favorite, and I don't know, maybe because I like the forest, I like the campy look and such. But again, you'll notice we have tropical, temperate, and cold. So with all 3 biomes, I like that it's in 3s, right? So we've got our 3 types. We've got our grasslands, our deserts, and our forest. And then of those 3, you have tropical, temperate, and cold. So tropical rainforest, I feel like everybody is familiar with. You're going to find the tropical rainforest near the equator. You're going to have daily rain. I feel like we don't even know moisture like they know moisture. So, and we have talked a lot, I feel like, in class about the diversity that you find. There's extreme biodiversity in the rainforest, but also that they have poor soil. So Luke says he's just worried that I'll go into detail and state a minimal detail that's slightly wrong, and the whole question will be counted against me. I feel like it's a valid fear. Don't do that. I know you're rolling your eyes, Luke. Like, don't do that. Yeah. Well, I mean, if you're super worried about a small detail that's wrong, Google, check yourself. You guys are so fast. Thank you, Bryson. I get tickled at getting tickled at y'all. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, if you're gonna throw in a minimal detail, like I said, 3 sentences is good, but think about the scientific method. You got to get through that whole dude, right? So you want to explain, and usually in science, less is more. But don't say something wrong. That's bad. Okay, so don't forget, of all of this, tropical rainforests have a ton of biodiversity. They are considered the planet's lungs. The broadleaf evergreen plants. This is an adaptation. I keep using the word adaptation, and I just am fearful that they're going to want you to talk about some form of an adaptation. We will. Yes. Yes, Xander. Okay, so the leaves are broad. Let's talk about photosynthesis. Let's talk about adaptations, and let's talk about why. So when you're in the rainforest, I picked this picture, and I think this is a cool A picture because there's not a lot of sunlight that gets to the floor of the, is it called the bed? The bed floor? The floor bed? At any rate, there's not a lot of sunlight that gets down into the tropical rainforest because, all the trees are grown way up high. And so the leaves are really, really big so that they can catch as much sunlight as possible, right? That's one of the adaptations. Another reason why the leaves are really, really big is think about transpiration. So we're going back to the hydrolytic cycle or the water cycle, which is a biogeochemical cycle, which allows for transpiration, right? So there's so much water that's falling, and the plants are getting rid of water through their leaves. So the bigger the leaves, the more they can get rid of the water. So there's a reason why these adaptations. Oh, somebody's calling me, but I don't. Oh gosh. Hang on. Hello? This is. Sure. Sure. It doesn't matter. Gotcha. Mm-hmm. Right. It's fine. Thank you. Bye bye. Sorry, that was my dentist wanting to reschedule my cleaning. Teeth are very important. Okay. Let's see. Everyone has an equal shot to score a 5. No, Luke, they really don't. I promise you, across the state of Kentucky, there are kids that have not looked at their AP environmental stuff in forever, and we got a way better shot of getting a 5 than they do. Good point, Carly. Okay. Thanks. Good, Harry. I'm glad you're here. Okay. So they keep most of their leaves year round, to help with transpiration and to help with photosynthesis. That dense canopy, little vegetation on the floor. Yeah. Okay. So we got that. So some trees are draped with things called. I don't know what this is. I don't know how to say this. So is it Linus? I would say Linus. Thy grow. That's funny. That's King James Version right there. Thy grow from one tree to another, providing walkways for many species living there. So that should say they grow. Here comes Rosie. So that's what you see Tarzan swinging on right there is the Linus. And they're evidently legit. We have some vines here in Kentucky. I have swung on some vines here in Kentucky that are impressive, but I think the Linus are way more. And in case you did not see, for Rosie's laying her face on her keys, on the keypad. In case you didn't see the Tarzan, here is in the Lion King, right? So those are Linus. I think it's called Linus. So tropical rainforests have a very high net primary productivity. So again, if you had to pick a biome that had the most biodiversity, you would pick the tropical rainforest. And even though, and I think it's so cool because I feel like everybody knows that the biodiversity is through the roof, but that also that they don't know that the soil is nutrient poor and why. So I think that will definitely give you a little leg up if that were to cross your path. So it only covers about 2% of the land's surface, but it does contain 50% of the known terrestrial plant and animal species, and that's known. So remember when we talked about the evolution unit, and we talked about how there's still so much out there we don't know. A single tree in the rainforest may support several thousand different insect species. I feel like if there are 10,000 ways to die oh my gosh, my neighbor is mowing with one of those electric lawnmowers. have to check that dude out later. That's an environment. They're from California. So plants from the tropical rainforest are a great source of chemicals, many of which have been used as the blueprints of making the world's prescription drugs, for sure. So our fear is that we're going to lose our information if we lose our rainforest. And I feel like that's a valid fear. We definitely need to protect our rainforest for many reasons. So I added the word stratified to your vocab list. And I recognize that I feel like you're going to have to look it up, but you need to know it. So for me, the anatomy person, when I hear the word stratified, I think about stratified squamous epithelial, which is a big fancy word for skin cells. Stratified squamous epithelial. And if you know anything about your skin, you know that you slough skin cells off all the time and that there are many layers to your skin. That's what stratified means, is layers, right? So stratification of specialized plant and animal niches in a tropical rainforest. So remember, with your niche, it could be the time as well as the place. So we learned about animals that have different mating at different times that can live in the same place. Does it have a cord? Does what have a cord? So these are the things that are showing you. I like this picture for a couple of reasons. One, it talked about the different layers, stratification, and it shows you how, like, ground layer, shrub layer, understory, canopy, emergent layer, just in case. Stratified rocks, yes, rock layers. So dropped leaves, fallen trees, dead animals, they all decompose very quickly. The one thing that decomposition loves is moist. The other thing that decomposition loves is warm, right? Because these are bacteria typically that do all of our decomposing. So a warm, moist environment, it's down to decompose. Inversely, so if you look at the mummification process in Egypt, what do you know about Egypt? Yeah, dry, right? Hot, dry. Well, guess what bacteria gotta have? They gotta have moisture. So that's why with the mummification process, the lack of moisture really had aided in us finding mummies that are thousands of years old that we wouldn't find any other place. So 90% of the nutrients released by this rapid decomposition are quickly taken up and stored by the trees, the vines, and the other plants. So that was the piece to the puzzle that I was always missing. And as soon as I read that, I was like, it makes perfect sense. So the soil may be poor, but because you've got all of this tree growth and you've got all of this decomposition happening, the trees just suck it right up. So they get what they need. They're getting what they need from that decomposition process, not from the soil itself. So that kind of helped supply that missing piece of the puzzle for me. So very little plant litter builds up on the ground. The lack of fertile soil helps to explain why rainforests are not good places to clear and grow crops or to graze cattle. Remember with the slash and burn, farrow lots can take up to 50 years to even get close to becoming productive again. So ecologists warn that without strong protective measures, most of the rainforest, along with their rich biodiversity and other very valuable ecosystem services, could be gone by the end of the century. I would like to say the most important ecosystem service that the rainforest supplies is oxygen, right? Air purification, the lungs of the planet. I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying that's what I think. You could counter argue that all of the unknown blueprints, fallow, thank you, that are in there is the most important thing. Like you could argue, like there was a movie called Medicine Man. And for you guys, it would for real be like 7,000 years old. I showed it my first year teaching. And it was old then, so you can imagine. I'm sorry, but my nose is, I don't know why I get to talking to y'all. My nose gets to itching. It's embarrassing. But he found the cure for cancer in the rainforest. And so is that an option? Sure. Is the cure for the coronavirus in the rainforest? Maybe. I don't know. So you could argue that that's the most valuable ecosystem service. Here is a climatogram for the rainforest. And again, you'll notice no key. But if there is no key, you should assume that the line across is the temperature and the bar graphs are the precipitation. I do like that they give us the degrees Celsius and rain is in millimeters, and that means that this is in SI units. This is in Scientific International System of Units. All right, moving on. Temperate deciduous forest. This is where, well, we know this is where we live, right? This is what it looks like. So we have cooler temperatures, fewer decomposers because we don't have the warm, moist environment that the decomposers really like. So we have a slower rate of decomposition, and we accumulate more of that leaf litter because we have less decomposers. I'm telling you, like, what is it? It's so bad. On a global basis, temperate forests have been degraded by various human activities, especially logging and urban expansion, more so than any other. And there's a couple of reasons for that. In the temperate deciduous forest areas, it's very hospitable to humans, so we want to move there. And I would like to say that hopefully we are turning away from that and we're finding other ways instead of clearing these areas that are not yet touched, that we go back and we reclaim areas that are devastated. I just, I shake my head. We ran the other day downtown. Chad and I went to the riverfront and we ran down from Smothers Park to English Park. And there is this place called Fernterra, and it's where you retire, and it's beautiful. Who knew? I did not. I ran all up in there, even though they said not to do that. I did. They can't catch me. Oh, that was bad. Sorry, I apologize. Jesus, I apologize. So, or God, I cry the air sitting here, the like there. Okay. So we got all the way down to English Park, and I was just thinking, look at these abandoned homes. Like, why are we going out and clearing new lands when we have this land right here? Let's make it feasible for people to reclaim these lots and build homes here. So I brought this in as well because succession is something that may be on your exam. And so they talk about, however, within 100 to 200 years, forests of this type that have been cleared can return through secondary ecological succession. So let's just go all the way back in our little brain nuggets, and let's say we have primary and secondary ecological succession. And if it's primary, that means what? Dirt, right? So if it's primary, we've removed everything. We're down to a rock layer. And, right? I agree. And then if it's secondary, that means that something like a fire has come through and dirt still remains. And so that's secondary. And, like, we just need to plant trees and take care of that. Like, that's crazy. I don't know where this climatogram is from, but I just keep trying to throw different climatograms at you just so in case you see one, you're good to read it. And you can see that the temperature and the thing that I really stress with my biology kids is if you could see this in a circle instead of as a flat graph, because once December ends, January starts again, right? So that's why those two lines look like they could connect, because they can. If you were to wrap it around like a roll of toilet paper, that would be the best example of what a climatogram actually looks like. It just is cyclic, and it goes and goes and goes. And so you see that we have, regardless of whether it's rain or snow or whatever, typically we have about the same amount of precipitation a year. And then we have very cold winters, very hot summers, for sure. And then we move into the cold or the northern coniferous forests that are often just called the taigas. So I like to say the word taiga. And now that the what's his name? Cootie Tiger? Oh, Tiger King? Tiger King? Tiger Empire? I don't know. I watched, I think, an episode. And y'all, it just was so bad. I was pretty sure that I was supporting drug abuse, pedophilia, um, animal cruelty. I don't know. Carol Burnett, whatever that lady's name was. There was not a single person there I felt comfortable looking at. So I had to stop. But they're coming out evidently with a Tiger King movie, and then they're it's like a fruit fly something is on my microphone. And they're saying Nicolas Cage is going to play in it, and then there's a woman, and she just came to Fox, and she has blonde hair, and she always did all of the like enraged words. They fall on my head, children. Cannot think of her name, but she's doing an investigation into the Tiger King. Carol Baskin, yes. Joe Exotic Tiger King. Is she evil? I don't know, y'all. I just couldn't. I couldn't watch it. I understand. Nicolas Cage is Joe Exotic. Yeah, I'm telling you, that's happening. I heard it on my podcast this morning. I listened to Ben Shapiro and Glenn Beck this morning. That was a lot of coronavirus, by the way. I also talked to a teacher this morning, and yes, I do too, Harry. And she's not watching the news, and she was completely surprised when I said school's not going to start back like it normally does, and everything's gonna change. Guys, we got a lot to go over. But I encourage you, keep ingesting the news, keep ingesting what's going on. That's important. So boreal forests, or the taigas, are found just south of the Arctic tundra. So that should tell you, if it's just south of the Arctic tundra, it's super cold. The coolest thing I like about this is the sunlight. So you can go, I think I told y'all about this. There is a vampire movie where when it turns all dark all the time. Yes, Con Air is one of my favorite movies in the world, Bryson. Oh my gosh. I love Con Air. I own Con Air. Yes. I knew you had good taste, Bryson. So there's this vampire movie that was not very good, I'm sure, but it was where there's no sun. The sun doesn't come out in these areas, and then the vampires live there so they can hunt all the time, was the premise of the movie. So I think that's cool. I don't know what that would do. Don't forget about the natural treasure that we've seen at school. Oh. Yeah. I didn't show you that one. So because of their angle, right? So the position of the globe, they either get a poop ton of sun or no sun at all. And it's a very cold there. And look at these cool pictures. I really found some good pictures for the taiga. So clearly we're going to have very few species that can live there because it's super cold. And you've got to have all the adaptations necessary to make it work. Oh, yeah. Twilight, I'm going to say, I don't think Twilight was in the taiga. I feel like Twilight would be more deciduous forest. I feel like, I don't know. You can look that up. Is that like Washington State is, I think, where they filmed Twilight, and it's not super cold there, and they don't have the daylight things. So the needles, so just like we were talking about, so let's do the adaptations for the rainforest. So in the rainforest, your leaves were big and broad, and that helped with transpiration in the water cycle, as well as photosynthesis, as well as getting rid of all of that water and capturing as much sunlight as they can. Well, in the opposite, so these are needle-shaped leaves, and so it's just like when we learned photosynthesis is 6 CO2 plus 6 H2O yields C6H12O6 plus O2, that cellular respiration, was it just backwards? This is the same thing. So, the leaves, instead of being big and broad, are tiny little needles. And so that will limit, right, the amount of water loss. And that will limit the amount of transpiration, photosynthesis, and heat loss. That's another thing. So, wax coating would also help. Again, you want to hold the water you can. You don't want it to come to the surface and freeze. So it can stand intense cold and drought of winter. Plant diversity is low because you're not going to live there. So let's see. I love it. Based in Washington, there's actually a scene in Forks, Washington. But there was a scene where they do in the eclipse. Okay. And I just thought that was a sweet picture. Like, I like trees. I like pictures of trees, and I like that. Beneath the trees is a deep layer of partially decomposed conifer needles. And I was out walking the other day, and there were all these conifer trees. Conifer means cone bearing, and the smell was lovely. Decomposition is slow. Guess what we also know about bacteria? Warm, moist. Guess what is not in the taiga? Warm. So the low temperatures slow down everything. The waxy coating of the needles, the high soil acidity. I didn't think about high soil acidity. But now here's a little plant grower's tip. So if you know anybody that likes plants, some of them will go and they will ask people if they can have their the needles that fall underneath the evergreen trees, and they'll use them in mulch around their hydrangeas. So the hydrangeas are those big puffball plants, and I don't know which one it is. They're blue or pink. So I think your blue flowers if your soil is basic, very alkaline, and it's pink if it's acidic. So remember, our pH scale went from 0 to 14. 7 is neutral. 0 to 7 is a high hydrogen content. 7 to 14 is high hydroxide, negative OH content. And it makes sense why they would want to spread those needles around the hydrangeas, because they can change the color of the plants. Another thing that farmers used to do, which I don't know if this is necessarily a good idea, but they would, not farmers, but, well, I guess farmers, but like flower farmers, they would put they would put nails for them to rust, chemical change, and it would change the color of the blooms. So, that's cool. Oh, scare bear. Okay, so there is a variety of wildlife, but they're all going to have to be, yes, but they are all going to be things that can withstand these extreme temperatures. So you know that the bears hibernate, and that's because you can't have that much body mass. You just need too many calories to keep yourself going through extreme cold. You're just not going to have enough to be able to eat. So bears, wolves, moose, lynx, caribou spend their winters in the taiga and then their summer in the Arctic tundra. And I think it's interesting that the caribou are like, we'll cut through when the bears are sleeping. Like, that's pretty smart. Here's the wolves. Oh my gosh. Did I tell you? I feel like I have a story for you. Okay, so I'm going to tell you a story. So there is this, it's like, I don't know, like 11 o'clock at night. And Ace had asked me a little earlier, like at like 10:30 or so, if he could go outside and play. And I was like, sure. And every time Ace goes outside, he grabs a stick. And it's just like, he just loves sticks. And so he is outside, and I don't know, maybe if you're an only child, you understand this, or if you have, overactive imagination, I don't know what it is, but he's outside, he's fighting, whatever he's fighting, and it's fine. And so Rosie and I are in the living room, and it's, I'm talking to Rosie about, it's about time to go to bed, blah, blah, blah. And then we hear, I mean, like in your face, loud. And Rosie, I don't know if you know much about cockapoos, but they sleep a lot of times on their backs with their little paws up in the air. And so she's all turtled. And so she's like fighting to flip over. She's like, WTF, oh my gosh, we got to go. We're under attack. And I was like, Rosie, did you hear that? And so like, I'm kind of turtled too, right? So I'm trying to get up out of the chair, and because something is near that does not sound kind. And so Rosie jumps down. I'm, trying to flip the footrest down to get up, and we hear again, oh. And I'm like, oh my God, it's like so close. And so I go and I look out my front window, and there is like a demon dog wolf. I didn't know if it was a coyote. I don't know what it was. And it had these icy blue eyes. And when the light would hit its eyes, it would glow red instead of like usually a dog's eyes will glow, reflect green. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And it was red. It was like, it like had like a blonde nose, and it had a red coat and blonde underling. And so I thought, this is so cool. I need to get Ace to come see the wolf. Oh, here comes Ace. And so, yeah, I gotta tell about the story. What do you mean no?
Don't do it.
Yeah, they want to know.
Okay. Y'all are terrible people.
And so I start hollering for Ace to come and to see the wolf. I've forgotten that he was outside. And so, hey, Ace, I won't tell him everything, okay?
No, at this point you already go this far.
And so I'm hollering, Ace, Ace, and he's not answering. And I'm like, oh, he's gonna be so mad that he's missed this animal encounter, right? Like, and this demon wolf dog is like running back and forth, and I mean, we're talking maybe 8 feet in front of my front door. And so so finally, like the third time I scream at Ace, the front door slings open and then slams shut real fast. And Ace is plastered to the front door, and he has got this look of like sheer fear and utter pissed offness all at the same time in his face. And because I am me, and I'm not like one of those, like other moms, I start laughing at him, because I then realized he was trapped outside with the dog, demon dog, wolf, coyote killer, and that the wolf was howling at him. And so that made me laugh. And I was like, Ace, I want you to see this wolf, demon dog killer out here. And he was like, I think I saw it, mother. And I was like, oh no. So of course Rosie is going crazy, and she's like, right, the whole time this is all happening. Rosie's screaming, I'm screaming. Ace is running, and he's upset. So come to find out that it was a red husky. I don't know. It's loose in our neighborhood. Some lady tricked it to go into her house eventually. I have pictures, y'all. It's huge. Well, she said it was a husky. I don't know. It was huge, and it howled, and it had ice blue eyes, and Ace was trapped out there with it, and he had his stick. And I was like, why did you hit it with your stick? He's like, what's a stick gonna do to that thing? Oh, man, y'all. It was awesome. It was epic. It really was. Demon dog. Poor Ace. Some of you guys like to hunt, and you can get into a lottery to go hunt moose. And then this is what twilight is, right? The coastal coniferous forest or the temperate rainforest. This is what twilight is, y'all. So this is going to be Washington. Found in scattered coastal temperate areas, that's it, for sure, with ample rainfall or moisture. So, so the Sitka spruce I had never heard of. The Douglas firs and the redwoods. Well, Rosie wasn't out there with it, Luke. It was just Ace. Rosie was safe with me inside. So funny. I did not know that he was out there with that dog, y'all, until he came in. Moosin, or Meese. So this is us whitewater rafting. That's me, and that's Chad, and Ace is hidden behind Chad, and that is Mr. Goodred's son, Matt. So we went to Buena Vista, Colorado, to see Matt Goodred, and he worked for this thing, this whitewater rafting place, and we went whitewater rafting. So mountains do play an important ecological role, for sure. You can be down, like you can see, we're down at the bottom of the mountain. We're whitewater rafting. We're all, like, they went swimming. I'm in short sleeves. But at the top of the mountain, it's very, very, very cold. So we're all excited we survived. There were a lot of class 3 rapids, I think. It was very aggressive. And Matt later told us that he was really surprised that with just us two paddling that we went through so quickly. But we did. 4 billion people depend on mountain systems for all or some of their water. So clearly, they play an important role with the water cycle. There's Chad when we went mountain climbing, and then we rappelled down the face of the mountain. And I don't know if they're in there or not, but there are pictures to show you like that what looks like a little dirt, whatever, that's like a big road that's down at the bottom of that. So we're pretty high up there. Many mountains are islands of biodiversity. So let's pause right there. When we're saying islands of biodiversity, we're talking about they just live in this one place. So it should make sense to you at this point, because of their latitude and the topography of the situation, that it's different amounts of oxygen, different temperatures. So that's how they end up being islands of biodiversity. This was us at the Continental Divide. So this was in July. So you can see it's like raining, snowing in the end of July up here. We have disturbed much of the Earth's land. According to the 2005 Millennium Ecosystem Assessment and later updates of the search, about 60% of the world's major terrestrial ecosystems are being degraded or used unsustainably as the human ecological footprint gets bigger and spreads across the globe. So as we go through and we discover and we visit and we vacation and we do all those things, it leaves a footprint, right? Look at that. So there are endemic species found in these places, and endemic just means that it's not found anywhere else. There's another one of your vocab words. So they serve as sanctuaries for animals that are capable of migrating to higher altitudes and surviving such environments. Like these, I don't know if you've seen mountain goats, but they are pretty impressive. And this is Chad drinking straight up out of the stream. He always wanted to do that, so he did. So they serve as major storehouses of water. Think about how many miles down the mountain they can flow to help clean themselves, right? So during the winter, the water is stored as snow, and then it trickles down as it starts to thaw, and we use that water all the time. Water does purify as it travels down the stream. And so we went almost all the way to the tippy toppy. This picture has not been, I haven't edited it at all. This is exactly what it looked like. Is that not crazy? So there was this abandoned mine, silver mine, that Chad and I stumbled upon. This is in one of the collegiate peaks there outside of Buena Vista. So we hiked up and we saw this old abandoned mine, and we traveled and we went further, and the rocks that they had laid to help bring in water to the mine was still there, and that water is so pretty. And I would say that the blueness, there's probably some sort of there's probably some sort of microscopic badness in there. Like, I was not down for Chad to drink that water. And I would say, I mean, if you're abandoned, yes. If you don't have a life straw, yes. But, it's probably not fresh. Oh, that's it. Oh. Oh, no. Yeah, don't drink that. Don't drink that, Bryson. So that's it. That's where we're at with this. We've gone a little overdue. So what do we have? Tomorrow is Thursday, and we will do 7-3, how have humans affected the world's terrestrial systems. And if I remember correctly, it is not much. Yeah. So the big things that we're going to do tomorrow, Luke, this will make you happy, is this is how to read a soil triangle is on there. And then we're going to talk about the hippo tomorrow as well. So not much tomorrow. Gosh, dang it. I'm not supposed to show you my email. Jeez Louise, guys. So not much tomorrow as far as lecture goes. And then on Friday, we will take our test. And then we will talk about, do we move on through chapter 11, or do we take the week before the test to just have like a daily chat session about things you guys want to talk about, review sessions. I mean, like, that's the thing. Can we do it right now? Can we do what right now? 7-3 and take your test and have Thursday off? You want to do that? We can do that. Do you guys want to do 7-3? Not very useful, but it's like having the thing I was calling it. Okay. Yeah, we can do that, and then I can give you Thursday off to just study. Sure. Okay. Kaylee says no. Okay. So sizes and biomes change as the Earth's climate changes, so does the biomes, and that should make sense to you. This is a whole conversation about how much has the temperature on the planet changed. Is it a big deal? I picked this picture because it's the same area. Questions that I have is it the same exact day? You know what I'm saying? Because this one looks more fallish and this one looks more summerish. But you can see there's different types of vegetation that's growing there. The ditch looks bigger, like there's more water that's there. If we do, we can take the slides a bit slower. Okay, we can have Thursday off. So during the warmer interglacial periods of the last 10,000 years, the Earth's average atmospheric temperature has risen about 5 degrees Celsius, which is a big deal. I mean, even a degree in Celsius is a big deal as far as climate temperature goes. And things are going to move. As temperature changes, things are going to change. And I think initially when we started getting true scientific data about what landscapes used to look like versus what they look like now, I think that's kind of what started that fear-mongering with climate change. I think now we're more in a safer place of the climate is cyclic. It's going to continue to change. We have interglacial periods, meaning we're going to have periods of intense cooling and intense heat. And, I'd love it if we would start getting ready for those things instead of just, worried about this. I'm sure some of you guys have seen pictures of what the world looks like now without all of our automotive travel and like what's this little blip going to do for us as far as climate change goes. And the answer is nobody knows. I saw pictures of India where they said that they didn't have a filter on the picture, and I don't know that I believe that because I don't know what they're doing in India, but I know I saw some pictures that were really bad. So, these are your current biomes, and then this is a picture of what they perceive to happen. So you can see that like the Great Plains and the deserts for us are looking like they're gonna recede back a little bit towards California, and that our temperate forest look here that we experience is kind of invading over. And then but California doesn't look like it's really changed much. It's, I guess the coastline they're predicting will hold that pretty steady. So this is just a prediction based on what we know, and I don't know how many years this is. Let's see. Chips are returning to the bag. We are the virus. Okay, I don't know what that means. All right. HIPPO is the acronym, if you came to Super Saturday, that Sarah mentioned, and I was like, I don't know what you're talking about. Evidently, it's a thing. So I'm glad she mentioned it and gave me an opportunity to find it. So habitat loss, invasive species, population growth, pollution, and remember with pollution, you cannot just say the word, over-harvesting, and then they've added plus climate change. So if you get into a position to where you need to talk about these on your FRQ, I feel like if you were to write out HIPPO, the acronym HIPPO, that would score you some points, right? Like just knowing that these are the things that APES environmental people lean into for the changes would help you. Okay. So the name of the game, and you can watch this YouTube video. I don't think it's long. I think it's like 5 minutes. But this is how to read a soil triangle. So we would... It's okay, Luke. So we would, if we had another Super Saturday, we would have got a soil sample and we would have put detergent in it. So if you're bored today and you want to go out and see this happen, just go and like take your shovel and just dig a little bit down, get underneath the topsoil, dig a little bit down, and just plunk it in. If you have a glass, you want something that you can see through. And then you just squirt put water in it to where water covers, right? So you want like this much water on top of your dirt, and put some some dishwashing detergent, and just let it set overnight. And your soil will settle in layers. It should work for you. I don't know why it wouldn't. It was really one of the coolest things. Like most of these APES labs are terrible, but it was really one of the coolest things because I did not believe that it would work. But we put some soil in beakers, put some water in it, and drop some, like I'm talking like just a little bit of like Dawn. And it, for real, settled into visual layers. And then you just measure those layers based on a percentage of 100%. So, like if it were me, I would want like a measurement of 10 centimeters or millimeters or whatever, so that my 100% would be easy to measure. And then you'll be able to see what percent you have this clay, what percent you have is silt, what percent you have is sand. So if you had, let's say, 50% clay, let's start with clay. So notice that your numbers are going up. So put your finger on the 50%. That straight line going straight across, that is your clay. All right, so then let's just do 50, 50, 50. So then let's do silt. So then silt is going down and to the left. So you go down and to the left. So your 50% silt is starting in silty clay, then it goes through silty clay loam, then a little bit clay loam, then straight into loam. So that's going down that way. So if you have 50% clay, you found the line going straight across, 50% silt, that's the line going diagonal this way, and then 50% sand, that's the line going diagonal this way. So that goes up. So you just connect all. Oh, you can't have 50, 50, 50. I am so stupid. Oh, Miss Skimehorn. Let's do 30, 30, 30 and see what happens. So 30 and then 30. And you see where they all three cross. And then 30. Yeah, you can't really have that either. But it's going to be clay loam, right? So that's how you read it. It is a little bit like... Luke is a Facebook dad. It is a little, you just follow the lines, and where they all three intercept, that's what you have. So let's see. If you were to look just in the clay, you could have 60, like in the upper echelon of the triangle, you could have 60% clay, 10% silt, and 30% sand. And that would give you clay. So that's how you read it. You're not going to have to. And here are your big ideas. I held onto this picture for so long. I wanted something to happen with this picture. So I just made the big ideas. So here are your big ideas. And at that point, you're done. You're done and you have tomorrow off. So take your time. If you are like me and it's too much information overload right here, right? So look at all of the stuff that I've posted. And that's too much. Read a little bit, and then put it down, and then read a little bit more. Ask your friends, right? Read a little bit more. So I just, everything I get, I just keep passing it on to you guys just so that you're as informed as humanly possible, okay? 60, 20, 20. Thank you, Kaylee. Yes. So the point is that it adds up to 100, but... poor Miss Skimehorn. So, with that being said, I want to say, love you, family. And, Kaylee, do you want to do 60, 20, 20? Right? So, if you were to do 60, 20, 20 real quick, if you did 60% here, and then 20% is there, and yeah, it'd still be clay.
Love you.
I love you, Ace. All right. So, love you, family. Mean it. And I won't see you tomorrow then. You just did your work for tomorrow today. And Friday, I will post your unit test. Thank you, Xander. I wrote, not yet.